Welcome to What Would Your Soul Like You to Know? And I am Michelle Wright. I'm going to be reading some cards for you today, getting you to connect with that inner guidance, getting you to connect with alignment in your life and how you can seek out hope and a pathway towards healing. Today, I'm going to start, first of all, with just some teaching. Then I have some cards that I've pulled for the collective. And then I have some questions that came in, and I will also answer any questions that come into the chat. So once again, if you ever want me to pull a card for you, pull a reading for you, you can send me your initials and let me know if you have a specific question or if you just want to leave it open, and I'll do that. And then I can send you the link in Instagram so that you can look it up and you can listen to it. And if not, and you're here just to find some collective answers, I invite you to listen and when you're listening, find out how your own intuition is responding. What are the thoughts, words, phrases, images that are kind of connecting like spider webs for you? And that's part of your message. Whenever you come across this, whenever you connect to it, I'm setting the intention that you're going to get some of the answers that you need. And when you're connecting in with your own intuition and your own guidance, your own inner compass, to trust it, trust what's going on for you. So I had just such a beautiful opportunity to connect with a friend from actually junior high. So way back when I was 11 years old, and being my wonderful 56, that's many years ago. And what was interesting is we had gone through junior high and high school together, and we had kind of connected throughout our lives. But I would say, in the last 15 years, we had been more connected on social media. So kind of that connection of watching someone's life unfold. And you would see things on Facebook, but actually hadn't sat down and had those conversations. And it was so wonderful to in person connect with my wonderful friend and share my work, because she was curious. She was curious about, what is it you do, Michelle? And what is your passion? And what's happening? And that was just wonderful, because when I look at my cards and you are describing to someone what it is that you're trying to teach, that you're trying to be in service of people, I recognize that it's important that I share my knowledge of the cards, my skill, my channeling with my own spirit team. And I definitely have all of that. I have that connection. As well, there's the teacher in me that will always be present. And the teacher in me really needs and wants the women I work with, the people that come to my lives, the people that listen to my podcasts. I would like them to, most importantly, trust and connect to their own messages. And so when I work, it's not just about me giving an answer and me being the expert. It's really about helping people develop that spiritual sovereignty for their own intuition, their own inner compass, their own whispers of their soul. So that I think it's always wonderful. I do the same. I love having someone else look at my astrology chart, look at my human design, and just listen to them connect to it without the perspective of all the emotional mishmash that's in my own head. Someone else telling me these things just allows a clearer perspective, a clearer conveyance of the message. And that's what I can do. That's how I'm able to help people in my sacred soul sessions. That's how I'm able to help my people in my mentorship programs, is that I hold that sacred space and we're able to talk and have dialogue. And I'm using my intuition. I am using my channeled information to help them, to guide them through their questions, what they're looking to grow and develop and move forward in their life. And as I'm doing it, I'm giving them hints and pathways for them to continue this work when they're outside of me. And that's a powerful part of connecting for me. It's a powerful part of my service, is not only being the expert and the authority and the connection to spirit, that channel, and giving the messages. It's also at that same time really helping them connect to their own spiritual sovereignty and their own inner compass and message. And as I was sharing that with my friend, we both come from a very rural background in conservative Alberta, and recognizing that we also came from different but spiritual communities. And we were able to talk about how the influences were present for us. So for me, an influence, I was raised Catholic, but an influence that I had was my own mother. My own mother was really intrigued about Reiki, really intrigued about crystal grids and crystal work. And she learned that from her mentor and sister, who were both nuns in the Catholic Church. So it's this idea that there wasn't a separation between the church. It was just, as I've said before, that different way of connecting to the elephant, to find answers, that there was not just one pathway, one way to find answers, and that you always chose and explored how the answers from the divine could resonate with you. And that was my mom. And she always brought a different perspective of connecting with, at that time, God, but it doesn't have to be God. It can be the universe. It can be just that collective energy that is presence. If when I speak with one of my kids, he speaks about it from a real aspect of science, and that science of when you observe atoms, they actually change. So our energy and our collective energy of observing and paying attention to something actually changes it. And that we know that energy can never be eliminated. It's just transformed into something else. So all of these things, they just are thoughts that intrigue me, spiritual questions that help me go down different rabbit holes and explore. And not one of them in my mind is the answer, the capital T truth. When I talk about the elephant, it is that parable of the blind monks, 5 blind monks touching the elephant, and one monk is touching the trunk saying, this is the answer, capital T truth. One is at the leg. No, no, no. This is the capital T truth. And the tail and ear and back and so on. And they're all telling the truth. And that's what I believe. I believe that there's billions of people on this earth. There are so many ways that we can move forward. There are so many ways that we can explore our divinity and our energetic selves. And different people will resonate with different messages. Different people will resonate with different teachings. And just because you resonate with one over the other, it doesn't make it better or worse. It just makes it a diverse planet with as many humans on it and as many different ways to connect to our divine selves and our energetic selves here on earth, and outside of Earth in when we transform past ourselves. And it's fun to explore. And I know when I've had these conversations and in sessions and talk to people, there is a sense, I know I've had it as well. There's a sense of we have been taught that there is one right way. So it's the same in the choices we make in our life. We have to choose the right path. And so if you have, path A, B, C, and D, there's one that's bad, one that's good, one that's the right way. And it's recognizing that life isn't like that. Life is about the experiences, this human experience of moving along and listening to this truth and exploring this spirituality and then integrating it into your understanding of your own life. And from there, moving to another experience. And for me, it's exploring um, spiritual questions, spirituality. And my astrology chart has that all over it. It is my passion. It is my joy. It's what I love sitting in and talking about and debating and being curious about and hearing other people's experiences. And they may be different from mine. And it just allows me another viewpoint, another perspective, another experience that I love holding. And so I'm hoping for yourself as you're coming here, listening to this live, and you're wondering what questions. I have cards. I'd love to answer questions for you and give you some guidance in specific areas of your life. So you can pop those in. And if you aren't here, I'm going to be here next week. Just give me a DM in my Instagram or send me an email at leadwithyoursoulpodcast@gmail.com. And I will do that. So for today, I pulled some cards before we got on. And I have the Colette Baron Reed's Shaman Oracle deck. And it's the staff. And it's in medicine. So that means it's in reverse. And when you read Colette's cards in reverse has a very specific meaning as she's talking about it. But the essence of this card is the staff. So it's about our authority. It's about what we do know. And talks about, we use a staff as we're walking to give us stability, to help us move forward in our lives. And when it's in medicine, it's saying this is a time when we have to discern the clarity, meaning there's duality. In order to experience joy and happiness, we have to experience the other side of that, which might be sadness, which might be loss, which might be anger. And so looking at dualities, we know day because there's night. And in order to have the full experience and understanding, we need to think about things dualistically. So if you're in a collective, there's also the individual experience. If there's spirituality, there's devoid of spirituality. And what do those two things look like, feel like? And it's really getting us to explore these dualities and recognize that there's two sides of a coin, and that our experience can almost, the picture I'm getting in my head is like going down those old arcade games where it's like binging from side to side. Our lives are like that. Like we go from joy to sadness and we just ricochet back and forth. And sometimes we see them in black and white contrast, meaning the dualities are separate and not connected. But that's actually not the whole truth. They're connected. They're deeply connected to each other. As we ricochet from side to side, it helps us understand the depths and waves. What does joy, as you're coming out of sadness, loss, depression, feel like, look like? What is that experience of it? What is the experience of moving out of joy into sadness? And that it's in here that I think sometimes we try to avoid, and we try to say we're going down the wrong path. Like, if I'm not happy, if I'm not feeling this joy and gratitude, then I'm in the wrong path. And I know I've said that to myself before. In essence, it's not. Really, what it is it allows us to be curious about what is happening. So I'm curious about what's triggering the sadness, the anger, the frustration, or the dual experience. And is there healing that I can be offered in here? Are there some attachments that I have? And for me, often it's around control. I want to control something. And so I don't want this ricochet. I want this beautiful one, this path, just direct beeline. And I have to allow the sway and the flow and recognize that the wave of each is where I'm going to find my answers. So to explore that. And the next card is from the Sacred Rebels deck from Alana Fairchild, and it's Be the Hunter, Not the Hunted. And this is really about staying focused. So you're experiencing the duality. Now, as you move forward, stay focused on what you're trying to do in your life. Now, if your experience is just to experience the ricochet and the duality, sit in that experience and be curious, journal it, record it. If your focus is understanding how to move out of the darkness and find hope, you have to remember the duality of hope. And you have to remember you're seeking hope and that you are worthy of hope, and keep moving down that pathway towards hope. So, as I said, you're experiencing it. Where are you finding hope? Where, in what you read, in what you watch, in what you listen to? If you pull cards, where are you finding hope? Where is it allowing you to love yourself wholly and completely and allow hope to come in? Where are you seeing hope? In nature, in the conversations, in songs, in movies. Start using your imagination. Start bringing in, and remember what your focus is. And your focus might be something different. Your focus may be, I want to find a partner, and my focus is on my partner. So now go through the dualities and the ricochet, focusing on your partner. Whatever your focus is, don't lose that. And this is from the Old Magic's Oracle deck. I just got this before I came on this trip, and I am so enjoying using it and learning about it. This is how I integrate a new deck into my readings, is that I use it for myself. I use it within the context of a reading to see its language, its nuance, its voice, and how I can connect to it. And in Wild Magic here, this is Myrddin, and this is really two voices. And it's talking actually about the mystical and the scientific. It's talking about recognizing duality, again, recognizing that what I see is that we live in this 3D world. So we see things in 3D. And how can we experience the mystical in this 3D world? So what does that look like? The science of it. When I'm here, and last week we went on this hike, and there was this little dog that came with us and was like a little guide dog. It was absolutely beautiful, helping us along the way. Now, could just be a dog. And yet there's the mystical aspect of it. We needed this dog to help us guide us along this path because there were places we were getting lost. And I saw this dog and felt this dog as a spirit animal guiding us along. And that's where in the 3D world, you can see layers and activations in the world as it is, and in the world in a spiritual way. And which perspective, which lens are you looking at it? So there is the science of the atom that I talked about. And then there's the mystical. Why does the atom change its behavior when it's observed? Why, when you are with someone who has transitioned and passed away, they feel different? And if you've ever been there, there is an absence of life, and you feel it. The energy is gone in that essence. And if you've ever done a mediumship reading, you feel the essence come back when you connect with that loved one in spirit. So the science, the mystical coming in. And the last card is a beautiful one. It talks about completion. This is the Tao Oracle, I Ching. And it's really talking about, as you're moving along this, experiencing this, keeping in mind what you're trying to grow, develop, what you're trying to do for yourself on your road to your highest potential, your most authentic life, in your healing. It's saying, make sure you take time to celebrate and see where you've done an amazing job. Make sure you stop on your path and you look back and you say, when I look from here, I can see how far I've come. When we take a walk to the grocery store, you don't realize it, but it's all uphill, but it's so gradual, you never notice it. It isn't until we turn around to come back that we see how far we have come and how big the hill is that we have climbed, because it's just so gradual, you don't even see it. It's the same here. It is saying, recognize and trust what you are manifesting in your life is coming. Feel that, recognize that, and look for the signs that it is happening. Look for, when you're thinking about duality, not just the duality of the shadow work and the work that you're doing, but look for the ways that you are growing, shifting, changing, and your spirit team, the divine, is jumping in and helping you. Celebrate. Look for the miracles and the mystery and what that means for you. I had a question today from JW, just asking about children and just really looking for support in how to support a situation that's happening, and just looking for guidance. So I'm going to pull some cards with that. So I have the Light Seer Tarot from Chrisanne Donnelly, and I'm just going to pull. So what is the guidance? What is the guidance for JW based on this? One of the first thing is the Nine of Swords. So swords is the suit of air. It's the suit of communication, our thoughts, our thinking. And in here you can see she has her hands, her hands on her face, and there's a pillow, and we have birds up top. So it's this nightmare. And it's talking about our thinking, and our thinking that wakes us up at night, our thinking that are our worst dreams, our thinking that is the worst thing that's happening. And it's getting you, like when I look at that duality, I'm getting you pulling that thread in. It's getting you to look, but are you looking at it in the two ways? Are you just looking at the difficulties and challenges? Or what can you grow from understanding that aspect of working with your child, with that problem that's presenting itself? What are the two parts of it? What are the two parts of I know just from being a parent, some of the challenge I have is that I have to honor that my experience and my child's experience as they were growing up were not exactly the same. So, as a parent, I might have the greatest intention, but their experience of it might have not been that. And I might not have met their needs. And so, I might have to recognize that there's some ownership in that. I might have to recognize that my experience and my child's experience, we have to have space to listen to that. And we have to have space to recognize that in a moment of time that there might be words or thoughts or phrases that were said that hurt each other and that created a real dissonance in the two of our relationship and each other. And by holding space for that, by holding space, the things that wake us up at night, our nightmares, the things that um, we don't want to face, we need to just take the space and trust that if we face them with kindness, with the intention of healing, with the intention of deeper understanding, it's going to help us move forward. So don't avoid those. I think that's one of the biggest thing is often you don't want to go where the nightmares are, but sometimes you do have to open up space and create a space to have that dialogue. And the next card that comes in is the Eight of Wands. And Wands is the suit of fire, creativity, passion. And here the wands are just going super fast. So what it's talking about is that once you create that space, and even sometimes it feels like it's a backward move because you want to move forward. So why are we going back and revisiting something? But sometimes if you open up that sacred space, and that's what I'm getting is you open up that sacred space, you sit in those nightmares, you create a shared language, a shared understanding, a shared perspective. And even if it's not exactly the same, there's a mutual respect that this was the understanding of that person and this was the understanding of this one. One is not right, one is not wrong. You can have two different experiences of the same event. And it's okay to understand that. And it's okay to respect that and hold space for that. As soon as you do that, then whatever's happening will quickly, because this is about quick, 8 wands just flying through space. And it's just saying it will quickly shift and change in a good, positive way. So even though it seems like a backward movement, it's actually moving forward. And it's really helping you. And from here, we have the Ace of Wands. And I see this card once again in the creativity moving forward. There's going to be a new understanding for both of you. There's going to be new understanding and a richer appreciation of how the other one thinks, how the other one feels, how the other one experiences the world. And that is a powerful foundation for building relationship, mutual trust, and moving forward towards a shared goal. And there's lots of different techniques. So like I look at the wild magic card when it comes in, there's different techniques that you can look at or get guidance from. If you're looking for more guidance, you can look at different techniques for, I don't know how old your child might be, but you can look at it that way. You can get some counseling, some therapy, because that's a great way to help give you some techniques and guidance. Or it's that simple active listening, which is you empty your mind. You're listening to understand. You are listening to appreciate the other person's point of view. You are not forming your answer. And that's a difficult piece. So, really, how you know you're active listening is you're watching them. You're watching their body language. You're listening to the tone of their voice and the words that they choose and the words that they don't choose. And you're just nodding and listening and holding space. You're not speaking. You're not planning how you're going to respond. In active listening, it also means that afterwards you're going to start with a paraphrase. And it's saying, okay, so this is the picture. And you can use different words. This is the picture I'm getting when I'm listening to you. Is this what I'm hearing? Or you were speaking about this. And there's debate. Do you say I? Because then that you own your thinking. Do you say you? And I think follow naturally what feels. Paraphrasing is about capturing your understanding, the depth of understanding of what the other person just said to you. And listen with your heart, not just your mind. Listen with your heart and your soul. And then honestly share that. And then you think about your response. And the thing that can make this challenging or difficult for people is because if you're not preparing your response, there are going to be some moments of silence when you're trying to collect your thoughts together about how you can respond, how you want to come back to this person and share perhaps your understanding, your perspective, your experience. And so that's what active listening, you can look that up. There's lots of different techniques for that. And it's a very helpful way to really get you to sit honestly and listening. And then after you've done that sacred listening, you're responding. And in that, people feel heard. People feel heard at a deep level, not just the words. People feel understood. And they're moving forward in a more whole way. I would employ that. I'm looking now at Colette Baron-Reid's Animal Spirit deck. What is the energy that you can use for this? Wombat Spirit, be at home. And when I have this, be at home in the uncertainty, be at home in listening, be at home in each phase of the journey, be at home, be absolutely present in how you are moving forward. And don't go quickly to the next one. Be at home in that moment, in that aspect of it, which is hard because often we're thinking about what's next. How can I move past from here? We're seeing it almost like a chessboard. That's what I'm seeing right now is a chessboard going like, okay, my next piece is this, and then this, and it's no, be at home, be present, fully and completely present. And that's where you're going to find the answers with your child. I have Judith Orloff's cards, surrender. Surrender your fear of change. The universe is reminding you that you are cared for always, whether you're afraid of a change in your job, in your health, or a relationship, or if you fear aging or death, repeat the affirmation, I have faith that all is well. I think sometimes in my experience in working with my children, especially as they moved into adult children, so at different phases, so surrender to the fear of change and recognize that having this sacred listening, this goal that you have will change you, change the relationship, and have faith that it's going to be going in the right direction. And you might not be able to control it. In fact, you won't be able to control it. And so you have to surrender and trust I often just say a prayer before difficult conversations, and I just say, please help me. My goal and my intent is to build relationship. My goal and my intent is to move us closer together. Help me speak in a way that shares that and helps guide my words towards healing, towards growth, towards our highest potential. And so I just say that little prayer before I start with my heart. And then I surrender into it and I trust. I trust what's coming up in my mind. I trust my words. I recognize that if I get elevated and my nervous system is responding, so maybe I'm getting triggered because there's words or phrases or uh, behaviors that would trigger me emotionally. I recognize that I need to breathe and I need to sit back and I need to surrender that I'm going to be okay. I am going to be safe. And I do not need to fear how this is going to go. I do not need to fear that we're not going to be able to work out this relationship. So, JW, I hope that helped you. I hope this guidance will be impactful. And as you listen to this, really connect with what resonates. And as always, leave the rest. So for those of you that come afterwards, I see you do. Thank you so much. You're welcome. If you want me to do a reading for you, to please just send me an email, send me a DM on my Instagram. I'd love to do a reading for you, or continue to be blessed with the collective messages and have those come alive in your own lives. Until next time, keep leading with your soul.